I was surprised they said yes. All right, this meeting is being in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Annual notice of this meeting was published in the Union County local source in the Newark Star Ledger. Said notice was posted in the municipal building and a copy is on file with the office of the borough clerk. Fire exits are located in the directions I'm indicating. If you're alerted for a fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit. Proper notice having been given. The borough clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of the meeting. Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes. Here, sorry.
Got it. Councilman Johnson is absent. Councilman Signorello.
Here.
Councilman Rabina.
Here.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Here, good evening.
Councilman Patel.
Here.
Mayor Signorello.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Please lead us in the opening prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Eternal God, grant us thy help in all our duties and perplexities. We ask for thy guidance. Give us thy protection in our dangers and sorrows. Grant us thy peace. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, there are no communications for review this evening. There are no proclamations. May I have a motion to approve meeting minutes pending any corrections?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
May I have a motion that bills and payrolls be not read and passed for payment?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to open the public portion on agenda items only?
Oh, so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you'd like to come up and speak on agenda items, you may do so now.
How you doing? George Ramirez, 500 East Clay Ave. In regards to the stormwater.
What item on the agenda?
1 second here. $2783. Stormwater control. So it seems to be that the sewer situation, the lawsuit that we basically settled for the $4 million, you came up here and said that, that you wanted to be super clear that there's never been any legal agreement for the borough and Elizabeth.
Yep.
That you searched far and wide. There's no documentation at all of any agreement.
Yep.
And that apparently is a handshake deal. Now, it's come to my attention that a Mr. John Gura was able to find 14 different articles in regards to all of this.
Yep.
So I don't understand. I mean, if there's no documentation of an agreement, how is 14 articles?
Sir, there's a difference between an article.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. So I have the special attorney for this and our borough attorney. Is that your only question? Is there anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, for now, that's it.
Okay.
So there's a big legal difference between a newspaper article and a legal agreement that gets passed between two entities or two parties.
Correct.
So,
this went in front of a court in 1918, no?
no, let's go back. Your question was to the mayor and to the council, you said there was no agreement, but there were 14 or 19 articles.
Describing
And
the
my-
situation that had
My
happened.
answer to you is, none of those articles say there is an agreement, and an article is not an agreement.
Correct.
So there
But the
is,
article,
as we sit here today.
okay, so let me reclaim my
we
time again.
sit
Can I
here
reclaim my
today-
time
Yeah,
again?
Joe, just let him use
So,
time.
basically, the articles talk about how we went to court with Elizabeth.
Yep.
Back in 1918.
Yep.
Correct?
Correct.
Because we weren't supposed, we had set the runoff onto a ravine by Elmora.
Yep.
And then there was a big issue, but it went to court. It went to, in front of a judge multiple times.
Yeah, so Bill, I don't know, do you have the microphone working?
Yeah.
So,
Can you hear me?
Well, I'm going to have you talk more, openly about this and exhaustively, but do you have any immediate reaction to this?
No, I mean, I concur. There are articles about a lawsuit, but there's no documentation of a settlement, which was reached in this present case, where there is documentation. There's no documentation, there's no contracts, there's nothing documented what was decided or what was settled, quote unquote. So,
Well, doesn't it
when
say
just let me
1980?
finish and then I'll let you finish, no problem. When you say there's no legal documentation, that's correct. There's articles written about it, but there is no documentation setting forth what, is thought to have occurred.
All right, so the mayor said there's no documentation at all, not legal or whatever, but my question is, it went in front of a judge in 1918, right?
Correct.
Okay, and what was the
That's what
outcome?
the articles say.
What's the outcome of that?
We do not know exactly what the outcome of that was because there are no documentations. Obviously, we're living in a different world now.
But there's also two things, and Bill, I talked to your partner Mike about this, which I think are important given the time, right? So two things to note from 1918. First off is there was no NJDP then, right? So anything that would come afterwards in terms of fines would bring up a new issue that any potential judge could have even talked about then, right? We'd be living in a new world, to Bill's point. The second thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a constitutional change in the state of New Jersey between then and now, right? So even if there was, I'm not a lawyer here, right, but I'm learning pretty quickly. Even if there was some judgment back then, right, it would be, we live in a new judicial system since then.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying it would be completely null and void, but it'd be a pretty tough leg to stand on. Is that a fair summation?
Absolutely.
Well, when there's, just like in construction and everything, if there's an agreement and then something changes, it's usually grandfathered in.
But again, what you just did was say, if there's an agreement.
Correct.
There is no existence of an agreement. No one has been able to find the agreement.
So out of-
The articles do not ever say that the parties came to an agreement. The word agreement is not in the 19 articles. You may want to read it in there, but it's not in there.
So you're saying that out of all of the times that this went in front of a judge, that this,
So
This
you
occurred
named
for like
one
6
time
years.
in 1914 and 1918. And unfortunately, record keeping, it was not the same as it is now, right? So that could have settled, that could have been just a paper order that never got filed, it could have just been dismissed. There's a lot of different things.
Okay,
As we
so-
sit here.
I'm sorry, George, but your time's up. You can come back afterwards.
As we sit
after I'll come
here,
back.
just
Yeah.
to be clear, I'll say it one more time, we have not been able to discover an agreement, and those articles do not help us go down that path any further, because they do not stay there, there's an agreement.
all right, we'll continue later.
Not a
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you, George. Would anybody else like to come up and speak on agenda items? Yep. Come on, man. That's expensive equipment.
Tim Coakley.
Yep.
Just here to talk about the trees ordinance. What's that, 2785?
Yes, sir.
Is that it, right?
Yep.
So, just as both a resident and as
Tim,
the...
Charlotte
Oh,
Terrace.
213 Charlotte Terrace.
Thank you.
So I guess as a resident, as chair of the Environmental Commission, I've talked to Andrew about this one a little bit because, he's on our commission meetings. I know, and I would encourage any residents here, and I appreciate you calling this out last week, this does potentially, at the behest of the state, put some burden on residents, on homeowners.
It's a big deal.
Have trees in their backyard. So I would encourage anyone who's here to read this ordinance. First of all, I think the borough's going to do their best to minimize the impact on residents, but, one of the things I maybe can use some help from council, from residents, local organizations, and I've seen this in nearby towns like Cranford. They've got programs to defray the cost of trees for residents who want to plant them on their own private property,
Yep.
right? So if you read the ordinance, there's an opportunity to just pay into a fund rather than replant a tree.
Yep.
Which will go to the town, that'll go to plant more street trees, it won't go to plant more trees on residents' private property. So just wanted to call it out, in the meeting, and happy to work with anyone on council who wants to help. Would love to start a program through the Green Team, through Environmental Commission to, create a fund of some kind that, residents can buy instead of paying $200-300 to plant a new tree in the backyard or pay $250 to go into a tree fund. They can pay $30 and get a dogwood, or pay $100, get 3 dogwoods to replace the oak tree they took down.
No, I love it. I think it's a great idea, and sadly, I think you could feel it. I talk to Andrew about this all the time, not to be like, a tree hugger, but like you could feel it when especially in 90-degree days, you could feel the heat now in some of the areas
Oh, absolutely,
where we've
yeah.
reduced this sheet. So I think it's a great idea. I think that's the purpose of the fund. We have a member of the Environmental Commission that I'm sure can work it out in detail with you,
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good.
but I'm supportive of it. Would anybody else like to come up and speak on agenda items? I am seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion on agenda items only?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, reports of departments. May I have a motion to, Ken, Andrew, do you guys have anything you want to say? You good? Okay. May I have a motion to accept the reports of departments as submitted?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wait, Andrew, can we do this one, or we have to?
Do the hearing on it.
Okay, we can do the hearing on it. Mr. Clerk, please read ordinance number 2780 by title.
Mr. Mayor, ordinance 2780 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 40, Section 3005 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Driveways.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2780?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak on this ordinance? I am seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2780?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we need to, oh, you wrote this down already. May I have a motion to postpone further consideration of ordinance number 2780 to the regular meeting of July 18th, 2024?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Please read ordinance number 2783 by title.
Yes, Mayor, ordinance 2783 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 31 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park as mandated by the NJDEP entitled Stormwater Control.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2783?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak on this ordinance? So, George, yeah, well, I just want to clarify something. You can come up just in case. But, so this is an ordinance based on overarching things that we need to implement from the NJDP. It's not really germane. I don't think conversation is germane.
There's nothing to do with
The lawsuit.
The lawsuit.
Yeah.
But it's got to do with the stormwater, which we're talking about stormwater.
Yeah, but
It's not, I'm going to put it this way, I'm just going to let you know up front. If you start talking about the lawsuit in Elizabeth, I'm going to cut you off.
Why?
Because the ordinance has nothing to do with that. This is a regulation that is passed down from the DEP to deal with stormwater management.
In general.
Whether or not there was a lawsuit, we would still adopt this ordinance.
So you're going to prevent me from talking about stormwater in
No, I'm
general?
going to allow you to talk about this ordinance.
Which has to do
I'm not
with,
going to allow you to go down and start talking about whether an agreement exists and newspaper articles from 1902.
okay.
Feel free, sir.
anybody else? I am seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2783?
So move.
Second.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2783?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll, Andrew.
Second.
Yep.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
5 votes in the affirmative, Mayor, the ordinance is adopted.
Please read ordinance number 2784 by title.
Yes, Mayor, ordinance 2784 is an ordinance amending the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park, establishing a new Chapter 21 as mandated by the NJDEP entitled Privately Owned Salt Storage.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2784?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak on salt storage? Hot topic. Seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2784?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2784?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll, Andrew.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel? 5 votes in the affirmative, Mayor, the ordinance is adopted.
Okay, please read ordinance number 2785 by title.
Yes, Mayor, ordinance 2785 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 26 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Trees, establishing a new Section 2 as mandated by the NJDEP entitled Private Tree Removal and Replacement.
Okay, may I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2785?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak on this? Tim, anything else? Cool. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2785?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2785?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
5 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
Okay, all matters listed within asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Andrew, please read all resolutions listed on the consent agenda by title.
Yes, Mayor. Resolution 15824 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33913, Oldie Dowlings LLC, doing business as Dowlings Irish Pub and Restaurant, for the 24-25 licensing term. Resolution 15924 is authorizing a program agreement between the Borough of Roselle Park and Raymond and Maura Nivar in connection with Roselle Park Housing Rehabilitation Program, case number RP-56-201 and 02, for the improvement of the property located at 323 Sheridan Avenue, known as Block 1014, Lot 8 of the municipal tax map. Resolution 16024 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-15-5, Liquor 157 LLC, doing business as Deluxe Enterprises, Inc., Deluxe Event Planning and Rentals LLC, for the 24-25 licensing term. Resolution 16124 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-16-7, Spalanga Food, Inc., doing business as Costa's Restaurant and Pizzeria, for the 24-25 licensing term. Resolution 16224 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-12-6, CDR Group LLC, doing business as Casa del Rey, for the 24-25 licensing term. Resolution 16324 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-31171, American Legion Post 60, Inc., doing business as American Legion Post 60, Inc., for the 24-25 licensing term. Resolution 16424 is authorizing the Borough Clerk to auction unclaimed bicycles. Resolution 16524 is authorizing the Borough Clerk to auction vehicles no longer needed for public use. Resolution 16624 is directing an immediate stop to the acquisition and installation of a Rick Barry statue as authorized by ordinance number 2776, and further directing any and all actions necessary to formally repeal the appropriation. Resolution 16724 is authorizing the tax collector to issue a reduction and/or refund on 4 sewer utility bills in the amount of $4,741. Resolution 16824 is authorizing the treasurer to issue 1 check totaling $418.42, payable to 1 lien holder on 1 property. Resolution 16924 is authorizing the open-ended purchase of regular 87-octane unleaded gasoline from National Fuel Oil, Inc., pursuant to Somerset County Cooperative Purchasing System Contract Number CC 4524, with a $0.0839 per gallon upcharge. Sorry, you could all read it. Resolution 17024 is establishing the processes for management and replacement of the American flag. Resolution 17124 is authorizing change order number 1 to Jockmel Construction LLC for the project Roselle Park Housing Rehabilitation, case number RP-51, in the amount of a $4,700 increase to the reflected total contract amount of $24,600. Resolution 17224 is canceling the appropriation of $150,000 for the acquisition and installation of a Rick Barry statue at Gazebo Park and other property from ordinance number 2776. And Resolution 17324 is amending Resolution 14224 and reauthorizing a shared service agreement with the Borough of Kenilworth for the position of Superintendent of Public Works and the use of the Department of Public Works equipment and vehicles.
Okay. So I'm removing 166 and 172. Do any members wish to have any other items removed from the consent agenda? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the resolutions remaining on the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 166? Oh, can we do them together?
Yeah, you just need to ask for a motion.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adopt Resolution 166-24 and 172-24?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? So I just, Councilman Johnson brought this up. Unfortunately, he said he's going to be late or not here. I didn't get a chance to connect with him about this. So I am wholeheartedly in favor. I heard you guys about redirecting funds and not spending money on a Rick Barry statue. I do want to just mention the implication of this means we put out a bunch of money in the budget this year. If we take this out, that means we can't do anything with those monies, right? What I'd rather do is us kind of sidebar and talk about what else we could potentially use 150K for, right? Like, there's Girl Scout Park that needs to get done. There's sidewalks that need to get done. Maybe Michael J. Morey Park is up for rehab, a couple streets in the second ward. So again, I don't want to use it for Rick Barry anymore, but I don't want to see that money go away. I'd rather, thank you. All right, feels good. I got a thank you card and I'm getting a clap.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyway, we heard you. But this would take that monies away. I'd rather us sidebar, talk about what else we could use it for, and reallocate that versus just chopping it out. So I would ask you guys to vote these down. And again, once again, for everybody on the record, we're not going to spend it on a Rick Barry statue. But if we, thank you. But if we vote yes for this, that means we can't spend it on anything. I'd rather us vote no on it tonight, and we could figure out what else we could spend it on that the borough needs. Any questions from council? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. Andrew, do you want to call the roll?
Yes. Councilman Petrosky.
No.
Councilman Signorello.
No.
Councilman Urbina.
No.
Councilwoman Lyons.
No.
Councilman Patel.
No.
5 votes to the negative, the resolutions are defeated.
Never been so happy to hear no in my life as mayor. That was smooth. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit out of order because we have Bill here, and I want to use my time to talk about some of the sewer questions that have come up. So I'm going to yield my mayor's update for you in talking about this. Can I have a motion from council to go out of order and pull up or can I just do the mayor's update out of order, or do I need a motion?
No, you're fine.
Can I just
It's all-
pull them up? Yeah?
You can.
Mr. Lawyer?
You can just do it.
Okay, cool. Feels good to be the mayor. Come on up, Bill. Okay, so I want to do this before public portion because I'm sure there's going to be more questions about this and more discussion. Look, I don't want this meeting to go on forever, and I've talked a lot about this. There's been a lot of consternation about the sewer bill this year. Nobody's happy about it. In the meantime, since we've done the settlement and since we've increased everybody's sewer bill, there's been a lot of excellent work that the public has done in terms of research. And obviously, we did our research beforehand, but we thought it would be in everybody's best interest to have our special counsel have an eyeball through it. One of our special counsel is right here tonight. So I have a memo for council. I know we just got it out today. Sorry, I would have liked to have got it out earlier. But I thought it'd be good to kind of just have you verbally talk it through as our lawyer, some of the things that you found there, why they're potentially relevant, and probably most likely why. So there's 3 things I think are important to hit from my perspective as mayor, right? So first off, we settled this, right? So a lot of it, unfortunately, for better or worse, only would have come up had we gone to court, right, is one thing that I think we need to talk about. But candidly, based on, I think, a lot of your views are, I don't know how effective they would have been in court anyway. I'm kind of still in the lead here, but the show's yours, Bill.
Okay.
You might just want to, actually, do you want to go over there? Might be more, because there's a mic stand over there.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. Everyone can hear me?
Yeah,
All right.
you might want to go a little closer, just to be safe. Better. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so, you brought up, the points about the settlement and what, would have come out had the case proceeded eventually to a trial before, and, whoever was at the meeting last time, trial's not before a jury, trial's before a judge in equity court. The articles have all been.
Can you just explain what that means, by the way? Because I think that's
Yeah,
important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, there's several types of courts in New Jersey, in Superior Court. One of them is an equity court, and what does an equity court does is it has special powers in that it can award, it can basically, the easy way to say it is make you do something, right? A Superior Court civil division jury can't make you do something other than pay money. They can give you a piece of paper with a judgment on it. A equity court can make you do something, force you to do something. So it's equitable relief. And what the Elizabeth was asking here, not only monetary damages, because an equity court can award monetary damages, but asking the court for the borough to disconnect from their system. So ultimately, a judge would have been tasked with that decision, whether or not the borough had to remove itself, and then secondly, all the monetary issues, attorney's fees on the other side, past charges for treating the borough's systems water, and future as well, and any punitive damages that, I don't necessarily
Just to
think
make
that
that
would have
concrete,
been-
I'm sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off, but I've had to learn a lot on the fly here.
Sure.
So this means, in this type of court, it would have been one judge that would have he's judge, jury, and executioner there.
Correct.
Right? So part of why I think we can talk about what we talked about in closed session is that was the risk, and correct me if I'm wrong, the judge had overtly said, like, he was ready to move on this pretty quickly.
Correct,
Right?
and that's one of the things I should have brought up. These equity courts move a lot quicker than, if anyone's been involved in a civil lawsuit, they're surprised when they first get involved that those cases can drag on for years and years and years. Average is about 3 to 4 years before you're seeing a jury. That doesn't happen here. Your complaints filed, you're probably at a decision max 12 to 14 months.
So just to make this crystal clear, had we chosen to go forward with the lawsuit, there's a multitude of potential outcomes, right? But what they were asking for is a specific route off of their system, a specific rate to be paid forward, and $40 million in damages from the rears, right?
Correct.
Now, we could have gotten a judge that could have said, they could have landed exactly what our settlement was and said, $4 million's fair, and, Roselle Park can pick the path. We could have got a judge that said, $30 million is fair, and Roselle Park, you're compelled to pay this, right? Which is why you try to work out a fair settlement, because you try to minimize potential
Correct.
downside damage.
Correct.
Yep.
And as pointed out in the memo, that judge, I think it was put nicely in the memo, that judge was not going to insert a payment plan. Whatever decision was made onto monetary damages, it was going to be a judgment, and it would have to be paid.
Yep.
In this settlement, we have a period of time to pay the settlement. So, courts don't get involved in, how much money is available and when can it be paid. They're just going to say, these are the damages, this is what's awarded,
Fork it over.
fork it over.
Yep.
And if not, it's a judgment, go enforce the judgment.
Yep.
So,
So just to be clear then, even if a judge said, hey, $4 million is fair, we could have had to pay all $4 million this year, and the situation would have been markedly worse.
correct.
Yep, okay. So then the other things I think are important to hit on, so obviously, you've read the documents, right? And there was a bunch of work you guys did even before any of these documents. Your findings, none of these are, and we keep rehashing this, but what I've always told people is there's no legally binding agreements in any of those documents. They reference discussion and debate about it, but nothing legally binding that we would have been able to hold up anyway.
Correct. And my read of these articles indicates there likely was no agreement. There's definitely nothing indicating there is an agreement as to what's at issue. This is an overland drainage issue, basically, that there was a dispute over that was being blocked, that went to court based on the articles, what's in the articles. A lawsuit was filed.
But the lawsuit was filed on that specific topic of
Correct.
the concrete blocking.
Correct. The obstruction that was put up by Elizabeth, suit was filed by the borough, and you can't surmise what happened, but there is no reason to believe that an agreement was reached to the issue in hand here, connecting Roselle Park's system to that. The resolution in that case would have had to do with the blockage,
Yeah.
which was eventually resolved. The blockage was removed. This is not the issue in this case. The connection is the issue in this case.
And Bill and maybe Joe, talk to us a little bit about, so when we go into these negotiations, there's a thing called discovery, right?
Yeah.
So that means we need to search, Andrew needs to sweat it out and search through all our documents to see if there was any agreements or anything pertinent to this. That's discovery on our end, same thing on Elizabeth. There was no hard agreements that came up in that, right? We know this, but obviously that's a big boo-boo if you were hiding something, right? So that is not something that a borough or a city would want to do.
The consequences of hiding something like that would be astronomical. I've never seen it. I've been doing this long enough. Hiding an agreement that is germane to this issue, yes, that's correct. That would be a big boo-boo. Let's put it that way.
Borderline criminal.
Yeah, correct.
Right. And then the last piece, and Bill, the floor is yours. I just want to make sure that we're, again, I've had to learn on the fly here, so asking the questions that I've had to ask, so it's clear to everybody. And just anybody who's here on this topic, we're also going to drag Bill back or Mike back to do a special town hall on this, to talk about this. Even if we were to go to court and these things were to come up, we were to hire an expert to go even further than the public did and find up all these documents. Is there anything that you see there that really would have given us a healthy at-bat to say, we have claim to just free flow into this system?
Absolutely not. I think the opposite. Everything you see there is about a dispute that is irrelevant, so the judge sure would have taken everything into consideration, but there's nothing in these articles, again, they're articles, as counsel pointed out earlier, that says there's any agreement to the issue at hand that we're quote-unquote freeloading into their system.
Yep.
Again, as pointed out in the memo, and you mentioned it earlier, the DEP is regulating this. And one of the things I think everyone should know, and it's in the memo, is they're coming down hard on Elizabeth because they still have this combined system. There's not many left. They have this system, and they're coming down hard. The judge has this in mind. He knows this. This is not his first sewer case, and it won't be his last. So he's going to keep that in mind, that these things need to be alleviated because the government's coming down on Elizabeth. So they need to get out, because if they don't get out, then Elizabeth can't correct their problem. So, no, there's nothing the long and short of it is there's nothing in those articles that changes anything whatsoever, our read of them.
Got it. Joe, Bill, is there anything that I didn't cover that you feel like at the top of the house should be covered?
Just pointing out that in terms of the monetary, what a judge could have done, I think it's also important. We negotiated the route, right? The judge could have said, that route doesn't make any sense. We're going to do this route, and the cost of that could have tripled.
Yep.
So we part of the settlement is how, again, going back to the time frame, he also could have said, you're out in 5
2
years.
years.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Whatever.
2 years, whatever. So, we negotiated the time frame and we negotiated the route, something we could work with. That wouldn't have been an option. Judge could have done whatever he wanted. Now, that doesn't say, no one's standing here and saying, well, maybe he could have given a route that Elizabeth couldn't have, they wouldn't have been happy with. Sure, anything can happen, but it's a gamble.
Yeah. Do you guys have any problem with me opening up to the council for questions while we have the professionals here? Council, do you guys have any questions for either Joe or Bill while they're here?
Yeah, I do. Where did that $4 million come from? Was that from when they installed the flow meter? Hear me now?
What?
The $4 million, where did that number come about? Was that from when they installed the flow meter back in 2011,
So that's-
2014, and comparable to that?
I can handle that. So this, because Mike and I were at the 11th hour going back and forth on this. So we kept going, it was a dance, right? They started at 4 million, 40 million, we said, how about 2, right? They went to 30 million, we said, how about 3, right? Where we landed was, we thought a fair number was 3.5 based on
The usage?
based on the usage since they put in the meter.
Okay.
Right, and our biggest risk in all of this, Bill, back me up on this, or correct me if I'm wrong, is they would have the strongest case based on case law. I should just get my JD, I could do this thing. Based on case law, that once they put in that meter, that's where they had the strongest case. Because they basically said, Roselle Park, this is a problem, we can prove it a problem now, right? So we put that number at 3.5, right? They weren't budging down to 3.5, but if we were to go from when that meter would have been, it is 3.5, right? So 4 is a shade over that, but the calculation was actually 3.5.
Okay.
Mayor, could I just add in,
Yep.
just for both the public and the governing body, just to be clear, the going-in position when when we decided to start to negotiate a settlement, the going-in position of the borough was 0.
Correct, sorry.
The going
It
in.
was a step before,
the-
too.
The
It was
going in
zero.
position was, look, you want us off the system, that's fine. We don't really feel like we owe you anything in arrears. That was not palatable to effectuate a settlement.
Another thing,
And it was not deemed probably, legally
defensible.
defensible in a court if you were not going to reach a settlement.
Yeah.
So the going in position, just to be clear, was we don't owe you anything. We owe you zero.
And one other thing, and when we do the town hall, we should have the engineers here too, but one other thing, kind of related but somewhat unrelated, they were actually also, they had a flow rate for us, of which we disagreed with. So we did an analysis based on our engineers saying like, hold up, the flows that you're estimating from Roselle Park are way too much. So another thing that we were able to cut in half was, I think they wanted like, whatever we're paying right now in flows, they wanted double that, right? So another piece of negotiating we had to rigmarole through.
Right, the amount that was going in, they were saying was way more than what our engineers came
Actually, yeah, we calculated. Yeah, go ahead,
I have a
Roselle.
quick question. Can you just describe, because once we found out about it, it was a closed session. And then it just seemed like we blinked, and it was. I think the next session, we were able to speak about it, and the town found out. Can you go into a little bit and let the town know really what the legal aspect is of that? Like, why we have to be confidential, when we found out, how that's all, because I understand the public, obviously, we represent everyone. Everyone is upset, and rightfully so. But I just want to make it clear, we didn't sit here behind the scenes doing something, that we kept it under wraps. Can you please just
Yeah,
explain a little bit?
So I'm a
Joe, do you want-
litigation attorney,
Yeah,
then
Joe,
you
the
wanna take
man
that?
to your right is the man who.
Yeah, the easiest way to explain that is, it would be like if we were playing cards against Elizabeth, but we had to show them our cards, right? But they don't show you yours. So you're doing a negotiation, and it's virtually impossible, would be crazy to sit here and have an open conversation. Oh, you want to pay him $2 million or $3 million? They would know that,
Right.
right? And then you would go into court, and they'd be like, no, you said something else, right?
Just,
So-
yeah,
So the law provides for that understanding to say there are the ability for council to meet in private, closed session, to have open and free exchange of ideas without the fear of, worrying about public or the other side knowing. So that process can get you to a conclusion, right? Once that's done, all that is back open on the table again. But that's really the purpose of it. It's not to keep the public out of it. It's really to protect your public, your citizens of Roselle, to allow you to bargain and negotiate, Roselle Park, sorry, to bargain and negotiate
Right.
from a stronger position.
Right.
So it's to your benefit. It's to the residents' benefit.
I understand that. I just wanted the public to understand, because there was talk out
Now,
there that it was,
All other aspects of the lawsuit are public, right? The complaint was public, our answer was public, court filings are public, things that said in court are in public, right? The public has free access to that, reporters report on it, and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
The terms of a settlement, or the discussion about whether or not to settle, litigation strategy, what experts to hire, how to approach a case, communication, you need to have that not be discoverable
Sure.
to the other side.
Thank you.
Now's your time, council. Anything else? Jay, do you have another one?
I have one.
Oh.
No, just, I'm happy
Jim-
to hear about the special town meeting.
Yep.
Town hall. That's
Yes.
a great thing. The transparency for the public, I think, is absolutely vital.
Yes.
And that's all I want to mention.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, who came out with the 11 years? Was,
What we did. Yeah, I mean,
Was engineer.
yeah, honestly, it was just based on, they had I think they originally asked for, they were, to their credit, amenable to a payment program because they know we're a smaller municipality. I believe they had us on a 7 or 8 year payment program, and then,
Oh, I'm sorry, you're talking about the payment program?
Yes.
Yeah, that was something we negotiated that we could live with. I thought you meant, I was hearing different numbers. I thought you meant the time to get off.
Yeah, I could just, and again, I think it's important to understand that all of this was, it's a totality of negotiations, right? So for the public and the governing body, just as a reminder, so we went in with the lowest payment possible over the longest period of time, right? So, and I obviously want the highest amount of money, the most amount of money over the shortest period of time, because they want their money right away. So this was kind of like a melding of all of the negotiations into a point where I think we probably got to the $4 million first, and we nailed down the term after.
Yeah,
They
were
wanted,
a little bit on the time period.
Yeah.
And we got a little bit more. I think their second, after we made an offer, a monetary offer, they came back with an astronomical number over 3 years or 4 years. I mean, it was, unheard of. So it was kind of a negotiating, what can we live with and push back to make it a little bit longer.
And this goes back to Rosanna, your question to an extent is, even if we were able to, which I think we did touch on, because we talked about this in closed session Q4 of last year, like we talked about, in a macro level, there's a lawsuit hanging over it. It's on the agenda, right?
Yeah.
Potential litigation. Part of why we couldn't communicate this is because we didn't know the number, right? Like we were negotiating this till the last minute. So, that 11-year payment up from, I think it was 8 was what we had at the moment, where at like a week before we adopted or settled, we had it at 8, and then later that week we got it to 11, right? So it was very, very fluid, as if you've ever been in a lawsuit, negotiations can be, right, or settlement. So, any other questions from council? Okay, thank you. Just stick around for public comment in case somebody else comes up about this. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, all right. So with that, we'll do. What's up?
council reports.
Yeah, council reports. Yeah, I got it. Okay, Councilman Signorello, you want to start?
I have nothing to report last 2 weeks, just, so I'll just say, be vigilant with this heat, right? Stay hydrated. You're going to the high school graduation tomorrow. Bring a bottle of water, wear light-colored clothes like your mother told you. Other than that, be safe, have a good weekend. End of my report.
Councilman Petrosky?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to send my condolences out to John Gonzalez family. John was a 1974 graduate of Roselle Park High School. He excelled in wrestling and football. Also, John Dougie Jenkins, who was a fixture in this town. If you grew up when I grew up, Dougie was always at the parking lot directing traffic and everything, and like I said, he was always around. He hung at Charlie's store, and so like I said, I haven't seen him in a couple of years because he was in a home for the last probably 20 years. So my condolences go out. On a personal note, my daughter's dog Maddie, we had to put to sleep yesterday. Again, like the old saying is, dogs are like family, and they are. I know when I used to go visit my daughter, he used to be so excited to see me. So he will definitely, she'll definitely be missed. June 7th, I worked the Feast of St. Anthony's at the beer tent. I'm glad they had 4 good days of weather, and I actually seen Rosanna there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good.
On the 8th was the Pride Flag and Raising Ceremony at the library. On the 12th was the recreation meeting. Basically, they're getting ready for next year and everything. There won't be a meeting until September unless emergency comes up. On the 15th, I attended the Juneteenth celebration. On the 17th, I attended the Historical Society meeting. Again, they won't be meeting in July and August. So today I was at the joint sewer meeting. We upgraded and voted to replace an elevator, which was installed in 1970. They couldn't get any more parts for this elevator, so they needed to get a new elevator. And we also voted on repairing the gearboxes at the joint sewer. To let everyone know, for the month of July, Dunkin' Donuts on 47 West Westfield Avenue will be the business of the month. If you need to contact me, you get me at jpetrosky@rosellepark.net, 908-666-7821. That's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Lyons.
Good evening, everyone, residents, mayor, council. Happy summer. It's officially here. I also attended, as you said, the St. Anthony Feast, played a few games. There was great music and food, so I loved seeing everybody out. I also attended the Juneteenth celebration, and it was that's an awesome celebration to be out for, and it was a beautiful night to do so. Yesterday, I went to a library meeting, and I am here to actually announce that they are having a summer reading program. They do have prizes and treats. I also want to thank Councilman Jay for the Dairy Queen treats that you get for them each year. I appreciate that. And so if you know a child that's in school, they really books and badges, well, no, I'm sorry, that's something else. But definitely go out. They have something for everyone. They have just donations from people that are just literally waiting for you to come and grab. It's awesome, some awesome prizes there. So if you go on to their website or reach out to them, 908-245-2456. Also, an announcement coming up. July 1st is our fireworks, so please definitely come out for that. That's going to be a fun night. There's going to be food trucks. If you guys know the pizza truck that I brought around last year, they're going to be there, so I'm just plugging them in. They're really great. Also, the Roselle Park Walking Club started last week. I did start a couple days with some of the ladies, so we will be resuming and going out definitely in July. And also at the gazebo, open mic is coming back to Roselle Park. We had some awesome talent show up, and out of that, we actually have two of the young girls. They are singing at the events. We also have a karaoke team that's actually a business in town that actually came out from that and is building, and I see them around, so they're awesome. They're called Playoki. So we definitely want to draw a crowd. If you don't sing, come out with a lawn chair, hang out, bring snacks. We'll be there. It was awesome. The community gets together. It's every Wednesday through July. We want your support. We want you out there, so please come out to that. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Patel.
Good evening. The Independence Day firework will be July 1st, starting at 5 p.m. Just a reminder, the Municipal Land Use Board meeting for new Class 5 retail cannabis sale at 1 Westfield Avenue will be on Monday, 24th at 7 p.m. at the Borough Hall. Lastly, thank you ASYC for the thank you cards or letters. And that's all I have. So have a good night, and K Patel at rosellepark.net. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Rabina.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Roselle Park. On infrastructure in the Fifth Ward, if you noticed no parking signs on West Colfax over the past few days, this was related to an emergency call by the Roselle Park School District to American Water regarding water service to the Herm Shaw Athletic Complex Fieldhouse, which encompasses the complex's bathrooms. After discovering this week there was no water to the fieldhouse. According to our business administrator, American Water went out to evaluate and found the disconnection at the meter and subsequently found the service line to be made of galvanized steel. Per new state law, galvanized steel is no longer allowed to be used in the state to convey water. In order to make sure the bathrooms are operational for the upcoming RPHS commencement, certain construction work was conducted today to reconnect the water meter with the main using acceptable materials. Excavation was limited to one small patch in the street and one small patch behind the curb near the chain link fence by the field house. And note, the water company understands that they are obligated to come back and conduct an infrared patch of the area that they excavated. As we all try to keep cool on this first day of summer, I'm happy to announce that we've partnered with the Township of Clark to extend reduced cost family memberships at the Clark Pool. A rate of $555 is being extended to Roselle Park families for 2024. Same rate extended to our neighbors in Garwood. Visit Clark Pool's website and under membership, click on Family Garwood 2024 for this special rate. Neighboring communities are charging between $775 to $900 for non-resident families, so I appreciate Clark providing Roselle Park residents this continued courtesy. And I'm happy to host, in conjunction with the Roselle Park Fire Department, our third annual community cool-down sessions, coming up July, every Tuesday with the exception July 2nd. It'll be 6:30 to 7:30 at Wolf Field across from the high school at 180 West Webster Avenue. Bring the family and beat the heat during RPFD's pump and water hose drills. Last year, I co-sponsored Family Swim Night at Orange Ave Pool in Cranford, and due to its success, the borough has agreed to fully fund it this year and give back a family fun night to its residents, so looking forward to making this another successful year. Big thanks to the borough. Save the date, August 7th. Check-in is at 8 p.m., but please feel free to get there by 7:30. The flyer and sign-up sheet is already posted on the borough's Facebook site this evening. Registration is ongoing until August 5th. Please be sure to sign up and note no walk-ins will be allowed. In addition to organizing bike clinics, bike pedestrian safety events in our schools, public safety sessions, and listening sessions, as well as advocating for the recent chili cook-off benefiting our middle and high school students, I take pride in initiating and leading various community initiatives over these last 3 years. These include our cool-downs, swim nights, and the collaboration with Clark and Cranford pools. My primary motivation for becoming involved was to effect positive change and enhance community through building relationships and partnerships. This includes alliances with entities such as the Greater Union Township Chamber of Commerce, Union County through the Kids Dig In grant, and our neighboring communities. Securing grants for trail creation and funding essential equipment for our first responders has also been a priority. Matter of fact, I found the grant for our volunteer fire department through NJ American Water last week that we just submitted the application today to purchase 3 natural gas leak detectors for the fire department to replace dated equipment currently being used. And I pride myself on my accountability, accessibility, follow-up, and follow-through for my constituents. Before this administration, I observed a lack of youth activities in our area and a business community that wasn't thriving as it should, concerns I sought to address and shared by many of my colleagues. Within a short span, our administration has responded with a multitude of programs, especially for our seniors and families. The library underwent a comprehensive renovation, and our recreation program, led by Director Ranieri, offers a diverse range of sports and activities tailored to our borough's needs. Under the guidance of Director Shaw, our community center has flourished into a hub that not only promotes health and safety through exercise classes and informational sessions, but also fosters community engagement through games, meals, and day trips for seniors and residents alike. None of these achievements would have been possible without the unwavering support of my colleagues, to whom I extend my sincere gratitude for endorsing my initiatives and contributions to our community. Regarding infrastructure, I'm also pleased to report significant progress, with approximately 70% of our borough resurfaced and over 92% of the Fifth Ward milled and paved, a testament to our commitment to enhancing our community. Further investments are underway, including the rehabilitation of parks, open spaces, and our train station, promising continued growth and improvement for all residents. On June 14th, I convened with the special counsel to discuss recent historical documentation, which was discussed this evening. I maintain confidence in our mayor and the administration to uphold ethical practices, prioritize the concerns of our constituents, and navigate these difficult decisions judiciously. Also on the 14th, I participated in a meeting of the New Jersey Trails Action Network, focusing on grants and advocacy efforts aimed at developing trails and greenways. My commitment to this cause predates my tenure on this dais. The adage that state government moves slowly holds true, but as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. I persist in ensuring our initiatives remain at the forefront. Closing out that day, I attended the CPAG's end-of-year celebration at the sensory-friendly playground at Loretti Park. Thank you to my wife and CPAG co-leader Jackie Garcia and co-leader Katie McDermott, Ms. Gilgallen, and the Board of Education members who came out to support and continue to support the 20% of our total student population with different abilities. It was great to see so many children using the playground and exploring the raised beds. Still waiting for the fresh mulch and weeding to get done, but I'm confident it'll happen soon. Additionally, on the 15th, I had the privilege of attending the Juneteenth event at Morey Park. This noteworthy occasion provided invaluable education and historical perspective, for which I extend my gratitude to Councilman Johnson and the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. It's sobering to reflect that just 160 years ago, in this land of opportunity, many endured inhumane treatment and were denied their freedom and rights. The Civil War, a tragic chapter in our nation's history, serves as a reminder of our collective learning, growth, and resilience. In the coming weeks, I look forward to seeing a mural that will grace the site of Sunrise Document Solutions in the Fifth Ward. marking a welcoming entry into Roselle Park for travelers journeying west to east, along what will soon be the Rahway Valley Rail Trail. And as summer unfolds, let us cherish both the small and significant aspects of life, such as family, time, and health, which are precious yet uncertain. May this summer commence with the creation of new, indelible memories in the company of cherished loved ones. I want to say thank you to Robert, Tommy, Grisella, Danny from the ASYC for the cards. Thank you very much. Fifth Ward, I can be reached at jrabine@rosellepark.net, 862-236-0019. Mayor, Roselle Park, that concludes my report.
Right on time. Thank you, Councilman. Okay, I have no report. Mayor Signorella at rosellepark.net if you have any questions. Public portion. May I have a motion to open the public portion on any subject?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
They wish to come up and speak, may do so now.
You look happy.
Oh, I'm,
Frank Trezza, 479 Ragland Drive. Time for another haircut.
I know, it's getting long. I appreciate that.
All
Thank you, though,
right,
Frank. I
okay.
put some gel in it for you, though.
No, you didn't. Come on. You woke up. Councilman, I apologize to you privately. I'm going to apologize to you publicly. I went past the park at the wrong time. Thank you very much for your efforts. I appreciate it. I'm a former law enforcement officer, and I'm a little passionate about these things, okay?
I appreciate
So,
your passion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, how are you?
I'm okay.
Okay,
A little tired.
I'm going to defend you today,
Oh, it feels good.
but I might run out of time.
I didn't know you'll get extra time for it.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
just
I thought you'd say
kidding.
that.
I'm just kidding.
All right, first, thank you all for repealing that ridiculous statute. In case you don't know it, I spearheaded the resistance against that. It was ridiculous.
We listen sometimes.
No, you don't.
I listen to this one.
No, you listen to everybody else who I prompted to come here. He could talk to me. Councilman at large, I tried to tell you about that statue. You wouldn't listen to me. You threw a hissy fit, you threw your arms up in the air, you turned your back on me, and you pretty much called me a liar. Research things. Research. Look, his parents might have been great people. So may have Al Capone's. I don't know. Okay? Now, my question is that correct?
Is what correct?
Never mind. My question is the $150,000.
Yes.
I hope that's going to Rahway Valley. I understand it's not private business.
Yep.
But when I did a budget, if I didn't use the money, I moved it elsewhere without any problem.
Yep.
I'm assuming you all have to take a vote.
Yeah, so just real quick, and is there any other questions, or can I?
I got more, but go ahead. Don't
Okay.
let me run out of time.
Just super quick on that. That's capital budget, so we need to spend it on something like roads or.
Okay.
So
I-
potentially it could go to.
I understand.
Yep.
Okay. You always look very professional. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman, don't ever tell me to calm down. Don't ever tell anyone to calm down. That's the first thing you're taught in a business administration management course. Don't ever do that again, please. I'm Italian. I got a big mouth.
When did I tell you?
You
to
should
come?
know that.
Okay.
Last meeting, well, the meeting I missed.
Oh.
Yes, you did. Don't do that again to anyone, okay? Please. I have a problem with my sewer tax bill,
Yes.
all right? $1,600? I don't use that kind of water.
Yes.
Trump Tower doesn't use that kind of water.
Got gold toilets there.
Ah, they got gold. Mine aren't gold, they're porcelain. Now, I do have a sprinkler system.
Yes.
That water does not go into the sewer system.
Yes.
It goes into the ground.
Yep.
Now, if you're, and I'm saying you're, but I'm generalizing.
Sure.
If you're putting, if you're calculating this on total consumption, I already pay for that water. It's illegal to charge me twice, correct, Counselor?
Not necessarily.
Oh, baloney.
Charge for sewage.
It doesn't go in a sewer, it goes in the ground.
But just to let you know, I hear you, and I think something worth looking at, like other towns do, would be to potentially base it off of winter months, right? Where that's more accurate of.
That might be more reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't mind paying for what I have to pay for.
Sure.
I'm not complaining about that.
Yep.
I'm just saying there are many people in the borough who have sprinkler systems.
Yep.
that water does not go into the sewer.
Yep.
It goes into the ground.
And just real quick, we haven't really had to grapple with this because we haven't changed the rate in 13
Well,
years.
you better.
We're going to. So I think that makes sense. We had that suggestion. Unfortunately, I got to cut you off after this, but I do hear you, and I do agree with you. I think it makes sense to look at the rates. Like Cranford, they look at the rates, I think, just for the winter months.
Wait a minute, I got to reclaim time because she's talking to me.
I can't do that. I can
Well,
talk
I
to you
got to
afterwards.
defend you.
I appreciate that. I got to be fair to everybody. But I appreciate you today. Your hair looks good today.
What's that?
Your hair looks good today.
It always does.
Thank you, sir.
Take a lesson.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You always look professional.
Thank you.
You represent this borough very, very well.
He does.
He's a good guy.
He is. There we go. Here we go, Andrew. A round of applause for
And
Andrew.
I'm sorry. I apologize again, okay?
It's okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Don't
Appreciate
ever
it.
tell me to calm down.
All right. Next up. That's okay. There's time. They'll come up. Don't worry.
Good evening, everyone. I am Deborah Salters.
Yep.
I have spent many years in
Just
Roselle.
address for the record.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
263 Ridge Street. I'm from Newark, New Jersey.
Okay. Yep.
I've spent many years in Roselle Park and Roselle. I've driven for the school bus company out here, and before it became so beautiful, I've been many years.
Oh wow! Just getting compliments left and right. Feels good. All right.
And I also love the way that you all do business. It makes sense, right? I've been to many county meetings, city meetings, as well as my own, and it feels good. It makes sense.
You don't see the chaos behind the scenes, but I appreciate that.
Absolutely. But I love how you answer, and not that they would give you much choice not to.
Correct.
But I love the questions and the interaction. So I'm here because I am running for the District 10 seat vacant by Donald Payne.
Got it. Okay.
And I think it's disrespectful for people to put their names out and they don't engage with the people. I'm on the streets all the time in every city. They call me warrior for the people because I'm fighting for everything, affordable housing, our jobs, everything. So when people have a need, they call me. It's something my mother did. I wasn't trying to do, but it grabbed me by the ankle, and it's just what I do. I'm called to it.
Love it.
So I'm here to introduce myself and let you know that I am not a stranger to your town, but I love what you have done here, and I love the way that you interact with the residents, and you take what is said by the gentleman here. I love his tenacity and force, and you don't take it personally. You understand what what the job is. So I do want to commend that because it's not everywhere, and you answer questions. And I love how you, and this was just something, seeing how you are very transparent about what you put in the actual agenda. So that's it. I am Deborah Salters. I am running for the vacant seat for District 10. In your county, Union County, I am 5E, and I'm all about the people and all about the business because the business makes sense. Thank you for putting the people first.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just,
Thank you for coming.
it's a good PSA while we're here. So, Andrew, when's the special election?
It's July 16th.
Got it. So, and just a added bonus, so we have early voting this year, right?
We have an early voting location at the Casano Center starting on Friday before, and it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, closed Monday, open on Tuesday.
You just gave that to a Republican candidate, but it's all good. Hey, could vote for you in the general, I guess. Yeah. So just everybody, we've had early voting in the U.S. in New Jersey for a while now. I've been advocating to get an early voting site in Roselle Park. I don't know where they are countywide, but the closest one used to be Union County College and the Amalfi Center in Roselle. Board of Elections was the Board of Elections that does it, was gracious enough to give us an early voting location in Roselle Park. So I hope you guys use that in the Casano Center. Yes, Mr. Woodruff.
Yeah, Mr. Wood, 134 Bender Avenue, Roselle Park. Good evening, folks. Just a brief comment that this is not really a contest. We are solely interested really in what is good for Roselle Park. It seems that what is lacking is a real dialogue. Your constituents are looking for transparency and looking for nothing more, has nothing to do with politics, and solely trying to establish what is best for the town, for the residents, and for the business community as well. I don't really believe that folks really give a rap whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or an independent. I do have some comments, though, in relation to our fiscal situation. Recently, there was an ordinance passed wherein the town is going to receive from Octagon Edge Towers $1 million.
Yes.
Our recent budget balance sheet at the end of the year showed a surplus of $3.4 million.
Yes.
Our budget this year indicates a $2 million surplus, but 11% of our budget is taken up by debt service. Only $2.2 million. That's okay. On debt right now of roughly $16.3 million, which is a significant increase. Now we have to pay from last year. Somehow, by ordinance 2776, the gross appropriation for roughly $3 million and additional bond debt of 1.6. Somehow those numbers do not articulate with what appears to be the financial situation and monies available to the town. At the year end, the balance sheet indicated $6.7 million in cash and investment. But there appears to be a definite lack or nominal amount of interest earned on that money that was sitting there. This also tends to be, it seems that we are comparing apples and oranges. It is unclear what these sewer fees are actually going, since the budget sets forth $490,000 for the Railway Valley, $889,000 to the joint meeting, and the city of Elizabeth, per agreement, would get $800,000. And also those, or your own figures show, a $600,000 dedicated surplus for sewer utility. I do have one or two suggestions, though, that you might consider, and I think the town folks might be willing to go along with it. Perhaps we could expand our recycling program, because our fees and costs are definitely related to the amount of sewage and garbage we dispose of. So if we're able to recycle more, our fees would go down, and I think our town folks would be appreciative of having to pay less monies. There's also a reserve for uncollected taxes of over $1 million. Perhaps those arrearages could be added for our use. It would also seem to be helpful to include the recreational trust activities as part of the budget, since this involves substantial monies, and not everybody sits and watches the website for these reports.
Unfortunately, Mill, I got to cut you off, but I'm happy to just respond to a couple of those things. So just, I'll keep it really brief.
I got one other comment, Joe, and then you can have the floor. I'm incredulous that we have a cannabis site here which handles hazardous substance with no apparent oversight by us, and they are handling a hazardous substance, and it's been established as such by the federal government, by the FDA.
Mill, I really got to
I realize it is a private business, but quite frankly, we have no oversight at all to ensure that they are complying with the requirements for potency for people that are using it.
Okay, yeah, Mill, I really got to cut you off, but just really quickly on recycling. So I love recycling. I was taught to recycle at a very early age. Unfortunately, recycling is actually one of the most expensive things in our line items right now. During the pandemic, basically without going into the full spiel, China stopped accepting a lot of our recycling. We used to make money off recycling. We no longer do that. We have to pay per pound, but it's not what it used to be, Ken, and it's gone up by it's probably almost doubled at this point since 2021 ballpark.
Ballpark, yes.
Yeah. On the uncollected taxes, I'll defer to Ken. I mean, I think that's par for the course, probably state standard of what you're using for a calculation there.
The reserve for uncollected taxes is a state calculation formula that is needed. The borough has to pay the county and the Board of Education 100% of the taxes that they're owed, whether we collect it or not.
Right.
So that calculation is to ensure that we have proper cash flow to make those payments. That's what it is. So when we talk about it every year, we do say, for those people that do not pay their taxes on time, it does penalize everybody else.
Well, I'm impressed with the fact.
And just, Rob, sorry, Mill, I got to cut you off. And just the last thing I'll mention is on the Octagon Tower sale. So unfortunately, that was negotiated after we had set a budget this year and too late. We had the state mandates, we set a budget by a certain time. Those are monies that we can use to lower taxes, or we could put to the sewer fund, like, we could do a million things with those, but will be used to try and lower
But quite frankly,
the burden on either end. I'm sorry,
seems
Bill,
a
I
little-
can't, it's not a back and forth anymore. I hate to cut you off, but I really got to be stringent about
It
this.
seems a little ridiculous, though, that we're having deficit financing when we already have $16 million that we owe
Thank you,
with money sitting around.
thank you. Would anybody else like to come up?
Patricia Almeida, 453 Colonial Road. Ok, en el anterior meeting me dijeron, me dijeron dónde yo estaba cuando ustedes votaron para el cannabis. ¿Dónde yo estaba?
Last
Okay.
meeting, you guys mentioned where I was during the cannabis
Ok.
vote.
Primero que todo, ni tenía idea de que existían estos meetings.
First of all, I had no idea that these meetings existed.
Como yo, hay muchas personas que no tienen idea hasta que nos despertaron anunciándonos que iban a colocar el dispensario al frente de mi casa.
Like me, no one knew that these dispensaries were going up for vote until they notified me that they were going to put one in front of my house.
Ok. Tengo una pregunta.
Sure.
¿Quién es el que nos representa a la zona de Colonial Road, Bender, Regland? ¿Cuál de los consejeros?
I have
Quiero
a
saber.
question. Who's the one that represents us for Colonial Road, Ragland, and Bender Avenue?
That would be the first ward councilman, Craig Johnson.
Oh, él no está aquí, ¿cierto?
He's not here, right?
Porque tenía una pregunta para él.
Because I had a question for him.
¿Por qué él no nos anunció
Why
lo que
didn't he
pensaban hacer allí?
let us know what they were planning on doing?
¿Por qué ahora que van a colocar este de Wells Fargo, hasta usted colocó en Facebook, o vengan al meeting? ¿Por qué no nos avisaron y no nos informaron de algún medio? Solo nos anunciaron cuando vendieron el building.
Why didn't you
Y ya
mention
fue
anything
vendido,
about the
y ya fue
dispensary
vendido para ese propósito.
on Bender,
O sea,
like you did with the one on Wells Fargo?
So I cannot.
How you told everyone to come to the meeting?
Yep, so I cannot speak for Councilman Johnson, but what I can say is I announced this one because the people told me that they want more transparency around it, and I cannot undo what I did in the past, but I wanted to improve going forward and announce the ones going forward.
ya, por eso es que queremos transparencia.
That's why we want
ahora.
transparency.
Ahora, entonces,
Now-
ahora medio pudimos parar algo con eso.
We've been
¿ok?
able to
Pero
pause
queremos
a
que
little
nos
bit of that.
informen cuándo van a volver a meter la aplicación, que nos informen desde el primer momento, para que así toda la gente podamos venir. No que nos avisen a 3 personas y el resto no.
We'd like
Porque
to
eso
know-
fue lo que hicieron ustedes.
We'd like to know the moment they resubmit their application, so that we can all be informed, not just let 3 people know, because that's what you did last time.
Assuming they do reapply, which is a question, we do not know whether they'll reapply. Right now, it's still in the hands of a judge. I will do the same like I did with
Yes.
Chestnut Street, and I will put it on my Facebook page.
Please,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Le voy a agradecer mucho para
I
que
would
toda
thank
la
you for
gente
that,
se dé cuenta,
so that everyone
especialmente
knows,
nuestro...
especially our neighborhood.
Ahora yo veo que mucha gente viene
Now I see that a lot of people
es en Colonial Road.
on Colonial Road,
Colonial Road, Regland, Camen, Reglan Colonial Road.
Yep.
No hay ningún aviso que es one way para el otro
There's
lado.
no signs saying
Que
that it's
dice
one way.
one way, no entre.
Well,
Do
we could
not
fix
enter.
that. That's something, if you don't see any signs, we could fix that. That's a separate topic, but we're happy to address that. Andrew,
Okay,
if you can take note of that?
And the people coming from Reglan is going, the other day, almost somebody hit my car.
We will take care of that immediately. That has nothing, I mean,
Because
that's-
as children around and we don't know, we don't expect the car coming from the other side.
I will have the police go out tomorrow and look for missing signage, and we will address that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, very welcome.
Good job.
Sticking around?
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. George Ramirez, 500 East Clay. So again, pertaining to the sewer, did you guys have the newspaper articles before you settled on this case?
Okay.
He's
You're
one of
asking-
the
you can-
attorneys.
you can-
He's one of the attorneys that.
You can ask him a question. Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We did not have all the newspaper articles.
You didn't have the newspaper articles, so you made a decision without having all of the information at hand.
I would not answer that to the affirmative. We did not make a decision with not having the information. We did not
Second
have
question.
the newspaper articles.
We had, from my understanding, Roselle Park put the drainage pipe going into the Elmora section of Elizabeth, correct?
From Roselle Park,
Into Elizabeth.
yes, that's
Okay.
accurate.
Who connected that pipe?
We have
Who
no
can-
idea.
Who connected into that pipe? Was that Elizabeth?
We don't know.
Well, it's in Elizabeth territory, correct? Before it was draining out to a ravine. Who connected the end of that opening to a pipe?
We don't know.
Where was that pipe connected to? To the Elizabeth system?
Yes.
Which means we had our pipe there first, then Elizabeth came and connected into that pipe because flooding was occurring around the Elmora section, correct?
Not correct.
You can't make that assumption.
Yeah.
Okay.
All we know is that Roselle's system was connected
Park.
into,
Roselle Park.
Roselle Park system was connected into Elizabeth. We have no idea who made that connection.
But ours was there first.
Again, you can't make that assumption.
Well, there's no connection. It was going out into open air.
You're talking about 1900s, correct?
Correct.
So
But that
there is
pipe-
you're basing that on your interpretation of news articles from over 100 years.
Okay, I know you're trying to drag on the time, but
I'm not
here.
trying to
So
drag on the time.
let me
George,
reclaim my
go ahead,
time.
George.
So the pipe is discharging openly into a ravine on the Elmora section of Elizabeth.
Based on the articles,
Based
that
on the
was
article.
happening.
And I'm sure I could find diagrams and maps and all of that if somebody looked into deeper.
We did
All
look
right,
into
based on that. Now, third question, doesn't Elizabeth have the burden of proof that we did something wrong in a lawsuit?
No, Elizabeth has the burden of proof to prove that we were using their system. We were draining into their system, which would, as a lawyer, I could tell you, would have been as easy as
But
cake.
we might be draining into our into their
Correct,
system.
correct.
We might be
Without
draining into their system, but that might be because they connected our system into theirs, correct?
You said maybe. That, yes, but we
That
are
may be-
using their system without compensating them.
But that may be because they connected our system into theirs. They made the choice to connect into that system.
And that would have been irrelevant based on the passage of time and the fact that we were getting a
But so
benefit.
if they chose to connect into our system, how are we in the wrong for this?
Because we're using their system.
Which they chose, they knew, in order to mitigate the flooding that was occurring in the area, they said, you know what, let's take on this system.
So,
and we can.
You're assuming that, sir.
Counsel, just, so.
Well, it's logic.
So.
And if, by going by the articles.
So.
Have you read the articles?
I have, everyone.
Okay, so going by the articles, that's what it says.
So the problem with that is, the other assumption is that Elizabeth then, if they connected, to use your story.
Yes.
They could disconnect tomorrow.
Okay.
Then where would our stormwater go?
Well, that's going to have to be, you think that any court of law is going to say, okay, yeah, connect tomorrow, and then boom, just connect it and that's it? No, there's got to
You think
be.
the court of law is going to say, you get to freely continue to connect, and have someone
Well,
else
don't we
pay-
have to disconnect anyway?
And
We have to disconnect anyway. We have to build a $20 million pipe.
Never like when I try to answer a question.
Yeah,
Not a problem.
because-
Your time's
We do, George. I'm sorry. Time's up. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll reiterate, a lot of these are hypotheticals that we do not know. We do not have the proper documentation. But once again, a judge could have flown in our face and said, yep, you have to pay $40 million, which is why we settled, right? Anybody else want to come up and speak? I am seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion on agenda items, or public portion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.